lied.
Former clients of Doug Weiss are stepping forward with startling accounts of their experiences at heart-to-heart counseling. Once esteemed for its role in guiding individuals through personal struggles, the counseling center is now under scrutiny as ex-clients recount troubling practices behind the scenes. These revelations emerge amidst the ongoing Joni Lamb crisis, further fueling public discourse around Weiss's personal and professional life. Doug Weiss, known for his work in relationship counseling, has faced increasing criticism following his high-profile divorce and whirlwind remarriage to Joni Lamb, co-founder of Daystar Television Network. As these recent events cast doubt on his judgment, the new allegations add a layer of complexity, calling into question the authenticity and integrity of his counseling practices. In this exposé, we delve into the voices of former clients who allege they have been silenced for too long. What really happened behind the doors of heart-to-heart counseling? How do these accounts intersect with the controversies already surrounding Doug Weiss? Join us as we examine the testimonials, unpack the allegations, and explore the implications for his reputation and the future of his work in the counseling field. Hear this from the female client.
Doug lied to everyone about his divorce. Doug told many of his clients at his heart-to-heart intensives that he was married and used his marriage as a shining example, even though he was already divorced. Why would he lie? He could have just easily not mentioned anything about his marriage. Why go out of his way to lie about it? For example, one woman, out of many I spoke to, went to Doug heart-to-heart retreat with her husband in the fall of 2022, after Doug's divorce, but before he told everyone, and he lied to her and presented himself to still be married like his marriage was still a good example. When she found out Doug lied and was divorced, she confronted him about his lies, and he straight up blamed her and tried to make her think it was her fault that she was offended, as if there was something wrong with her, and that her trauma from betrayal is why she's offended, implying that if she was just healed enough, then she wouldn't be offended. Basically, he gaslit the crap out of her and made her out to be some crazy lady acting out of trauma. I can't stand when people do that. Doug and his office have done a lot of messed up things to many women I know. For example, his office did a surprise polygraph on the betrayed wife of the sex addict and treated her like she was also a part of the problem, even though she wasn't the one who cheated and destroyed the marriage. The therapist canoodled with the abusive cheating husband to set up the surprise polygraph against the wife. Another wife who attended heart-to-heart retreat was cornered in a room by Weiss, alone, as he circled her like a shark and tried to force her to talk to her dead baby. What the freak? That is none of Weiss' business and has nothing to do with why she was at the intensive or why her husband chose to cheat and lie and abuse her. It was completely against the code of ethics. Doug is obsessed with sex and making sure victims continue having sex with their sex addict husbands, even if they don't feel safe to, since their husbands have lied, cheated, and abused them. Women should only have sex when they want to and feel safe to. Doug has made women sign sex contracts promising they'll have sex X amount of times a week, and even used fear-mongering by telling women at his intensives that if they didn't have sex with their husbands, then they'd lose their husbands. Again, the husbands that chose to lie, cheat, and abuse. Doug also gave women homework to do chanting exercises. Here's what one woman said of her experience. Saw him in fall 2019. He has chants you are supposed to do for 1.5 to 2 hours each night. One of the chants is to repeat to your husband and vice versa. I want you sexually. You repeat this over and over to each other, taking turns for a given amount of time, then go to the next chant. You are supposed to look your abuser in the eyes when you tell him this. Doug tells betrayed victims on his website that sometimes there are roadblocks in this area, sexuality, and it is your duty as a sexual servant to heal this area of your being. Hooray! Weiss thinks women are sexual servants. Oh, and get this, if women don't feel safe having sex, then Doug often labels them as reactive intimacy anorexic, which according to Doug is an addiction. So basically, Doug pathologizes and blames women, the victims, for not feeling safe to have sex. Here, Doug tells victims on his website regarding reactive intimacy anorexia. Not having enough sex in your relationship may sound like a rather trivial issue. However, a shortage of sex threatens relationships like almost nothing else and deserves thought and attention. Like what? Not enough sex threatens the relationship almost like nothing else. Not the addict's choices to lie, cheat, and abuse her. But it's her not having enough sex with him that threatens the relationship like nothing else. Many couples pay thousands and thousands of dollars for his intensives and show up only to be told that they have to pay even more money for the books and materials that are required for the intensive. and then most of the time at the intensive is spent watching Katra working on these materials alone. Oi. Total ripoff. Doug Weiss is victim blaming, though he claims he isn't, since he still uses the 12 steps, uses codependency language, and again, he labels some wives with reactive intimacy anorexia if they don't have sex with their husbands. Doug Weiss is also incredibly addicted coddling. Doug's polygraphers at Heart to Heart, Pete and Chase, his son-in-law, aren't licensed polygraphers, which makes sense why so many men pass the polygraph at their husbands. The Heart to Heart intensive, since the polygraphers have been asking sex addicts more than 4 questions per test for many years. The American Polygraph Association rules state no more than 4 questions can be asked per test, though they recommend 1 to 3 for best accuracy. When more than 4 questions per test are asked, it raises the error rate significantly, which means someone taking the test is more likely to pass while lying.
Doug Weiss's actions, from lying about his divorce to employing manipulative and unethical practices at his intensives, highlight a troubling disregard for the trust and well-being of his clients. Instead of fostering a safe, supportive environment for healing, Doug has perpetuated victim-blaming narratives, gaslighting vulnerable individuals and prioritizing outdated, harmful views on relationships. His methods, such as coercive sex contracts, unethical polygraph practices, and labeling victims as part of the problem, have left many feeling betrayed and re-traumatized. The harm caused by such practices cannot be overstated. Doug's approach not only fails to address the root causes of betrayal and abuse but also exacerbates the pain of those seeking help. It is imperative for professionals in positions of trust to uphold the highest ethical standards, and for those affected by such misconduct to seek accountability and justice. Healing and recovery should never come at the expense of integrity and compassion. Doug Weiss's approach to counseling reveals the critical importance of transparency, accountability, and respect in therapeutic relationships. For individuals seeking healing from betrayal and abuse, trust in their counselor is paramount. Yet Doug's pattern of deception, lying about his own divorce while touting his marriage as exemplary, undermines the very foundation of trust his clients rely on. Worse, his tactics of gaslighting and shifting blame onto already traumatized victims reflect a blatant disregard for their emotional and psychological safety. The broader implications of these actions are deeply troubling. By positioning victims of abuse as contributors to their own suffering, labeling them with terms like reactive intimacy anorexic or forcing them into coercive exercises, Doug perpetuates harmful stereotypes and enables further harm. Counseling should empower clients, helping them reclaim their sense of worth and agency, not burden them with shame for their natural, self-protective boundaries. Doug's methods also raise significant questions about professional ethics and the regulation of therapeutic practices. Unlicensed polygraphers, questionable group dynamics, and excessive financial demands highlight a system that prioritizes profit and control over genuine care and healing. It is critical for clients to know their rights and to hold counselors accountable for adhering to established ethical guidelines. In light of these concerns, Doug Weiss's practices serve as a cautionary tale. Victims of betrayal and abuse deserve better, counseling that prioritizes empathy, accountability, and evidence-based methods. As awareness grows around these troubling patterns, let it spark a call for reform in the counseling field, ensuring that no one seeking help is subjected to further harm under the guise of healing. Don't forget to subscribe for more content exploring faith, truth, and current events in Christianity. Thanks for watching. God bless you.